this just came out not too long ago. Kyle Lowry announces this will be his final NBA season. Kyle Lowry says, this will be my final NBA season. After reflection, I've decided this year with the 76ers will be my last. I'm giving everything to help this team win. Let's make it special. So there's just another reason for this season to just be on a different level as far as vibes go. You have hometown Philly kid gets to go back to Philly and retire as a Philadelphia 76er, man. That's just another thing there. What do you think about Kyle Lowry? Like last year, he had a lot left in the tank, but burned out a little.
I got mixed feelings about Kyle Lowry. I like that he's from Philly, but like in my opinion, this is just when we played against the Knicks, it just seemed like he didn't bring enough against the Knicks in the playoffs. It just seemed like there was something missing. He was a little bit older, but when Cameron Payne was playing, it seemed like he brought more energy. He brought more fire. He was playing better defense. He was scoring. It just looked so much smoother, the offense. So I don't know if he's going to, because I mean, this all sounds good, but I'm trying to win a dang championship. You know what I mean? So if he's not good enough to play next to Tyrese Maxey for I don't know how many minutes, I don't even want to think about it, to be honest with you. But Nick Nurse, I understand this is the guy that you rock with and you won a championship with. But if he is not good enough, you have to make a educated change.
We're talking about you're referencing Kyle Lowry starting next to Tyrese Maxey like he did last year, which was my prediction last year. People thought the prediction was crazy, and it happened because I was like, Nick Nurse loves this guy, right, and he loves veterans. He's going to start him, and he ended up being the starting point guard. And I like the dynamic, but I think I agree. If he doesn't have enough, he can't be starting if he doesn't have enough. I think what happened last year was Kyle Lowry, like again, he's 39 years old. He gave it everything he had. He was playing way too many minutes, and he burned out in the playoffs. And when you're relying on a guy that's 39 and he's gonna just burn out, man. Legs don't work like that when you're 40, bro. You know what I mean? And hamstrings were on fire. And that's why I think, Cameron Payne would come off the bench with a lot more energy. That's just straight fresh legs, I think. Yeah. But I agree with you. I think Nick Nurse has to be smarter with Kyle Lowry and recognize his age,
Right.
And I think that's why he's making this his last year, because last year he gave it all he had, and he was like, damn, I got, the Knicks series, I had nothing left. You know what I mean? I'm tired out here. So, but yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that take, though. I agree with that take. So you were upset at the Cameron Payne exit.
He was all right. I'm just saying, like, just talking about Kyle Lowry, I just think he brought more to the table last season in the playoffs when it counted the most.
What's up, guys? The second part of this clip, my guy Mike Sports Vibes asks a question about the Sixers roster this upcoming season on paper and how you feel about it as an all-time 76ers roster just on paper. We discussed that in the second half of this clip. Thank you for being here. Hit the like button for me. This is brought to you by BetUS. Thank you to BetUS for sponsoring the channel. Right now, you can get a 150% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 over on BetUS. And we are on BetUS website right now. And I just realized that the Philadelphia Eagles are an underdog to the New Orleans Saints this Sunday. After how poorly the Eagles played against the Atlanta Falcons, they are 102 plus 129 against the New Orleans Saints. So we're gonna throw some money on the Philadelphia Eagles. If they lose to the Saints, bro, we're having a whole different conversation. That is on BetUS. You can get a 150% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 using promo code YouTube150. Enjoy the rest of the clip.
First of all, it seemed like the offseason is taking so freaking long, bro. Like, I miss talking about the Sixers with just talking about what's going on game to game, and it just seems like it's just taking way too long. And I think it's because us diehard Sixer fans know that we have a true contender. Like, we have a true complete team in general. So it's like our third option was supposed to be Tobias Harris, right? Because of the money and all that. But our third option really was Kelly Oubre Jr. He was the third best player on the team.
Yo, I'll
And
never forget.
no
I'll never
disrespect.
not to cut you off. I'll never forget
Go
the
ahead,
one
bro.
guy. I'll never forget the one guy that called the show when Embiid and Maxey were both out, and he was like, "How you the third option without the first two options? You're still the third option." Like, I'll never forget that. Go ahead.
Yeah, but like for your third best option, and this I mean this with no disrespect, because everybody knows if you're a diehard Sixer fan, last season, Kelly Oubre Jr. was balling when he first started playing with us. He was balling, man, before he had that injury. I don't even know what happened, car crash, whatever it was. He was balling. He was averaging like 20-something points a game. And then when Joel Embiid went down, he was our second best player because Joel Embiid was out for a few months or whatever. So it's just like he's good, but he can't be your third best player on a championship caliber team. That's just my opinion. And now we got a true third best player. So I'm happy we got that guy PG. So
Yeah, absolutely. You can't, the Tobias Harris thing is just ridiculous, and good luck in Detroit. I absolutely am still shocked that you got another $52 million. It is what it is. But yeah, you're absolutely right. When Tobias wasn't showing up, you were relying on Kelly Oubre, who you signed at the end of the season, end of the offseason, literally last minute. You didn't even know what he was going to be. So Kelly was playing way above what anybody thought he was going to play. And then you're relying on him in the playoffs to create a shot and things like that. And that's just realistically not going to work. This team looks so much deeper than last season. And when like our level of excitement is because of that. People on the outside, they'll right away be like, "Oh, you say that every year. You say that every year," Hardcore like Phillies, Eagles fans that casually watch the Sixers, they'll be like, "Oh, believe it when they get out of the second round." Yeah, they say that every year. But we really believe it because we're watching. We watched an offseason full of signings that we haven't seen, I don't think, in the process era at all. You know what I mean? So, I guess
let me
we
ask
can.
you a question real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
In your opinion, since you've been a Sixer fan, is this the best overall team on paper that you have seen since you've been a Sixer fan? I'm talking about the Allen Iverson days and everything. Like, since you've been a fan watching the team, is this the best overall team on paper? Because we don't know about the team chemistry. We don't know how things is going to rock out during the season. They have to have good team chemistry going on paper. For me, man, I think this might be the best team.
Yeah,
And
I
I
think
ain't talking about injuries. We taking injuries out. I'm gonna be optimistic. We're gonna think that we're gonna be healthy for the whole entire season. If we're healthy, I feel like this is the best team that I have seen.
Yeah, I think so too. And the team that people will point to right away is 2019-20 Jimmy Butler team. But for me, this team on paper makes more sense fit wise. You have a clear cut like point guard, shooting guard, playmaker. You have a clear cut wing. You have obviously a clear cut center. You got three pieces that are just dynamic and should fit together theoretically. The Jimmy Butler team was like loaded with talent up top, but realistically, Jimmy Butler doesn't spread the floor very well. Tobias Harris should, but shoots like 3 threes a game, And you had Ben Simmons at the end of the day. That was inevitable. The collapse was inevitable. It doesn't matter how much talent you had on that team. Your point guard was a point guard that wouldn't shoot. It was not going to work. And really, in the Raptors game where Kawhi hits the 4-bounce shot or whatever, they didn't have a point guard. They were the whole second half, like all of Ben Simmons' career, they're trying to pull somebody off the bench or whatever to play point guard because he can't do it. He won't do it. And J.J. Redick essentially was your point guard running dribble handoffs, turning the ball over at half court in the fourth quarter. So, yeah, this team makes a lot much more sense. There's not a player on this team. And another thing, outside fans will always say, who's going to be the scapegoat this year? You know what I mean? There's always a player we run out of Philly, right? I don't see one on this team that I think is a fraud. I think there's always been Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, the end of James Harden tenure here. I was calling out what I thought was fraudulence. I don't see a player on this roster that I feel that way about right now.
Right. Because like that's another question. Like, all right, we know the big three, and let me just say this: it was a blessing in disguise that Ben Simmons did everything that he did, quitting on the team and all that, because if it wasn't for him doing that, and say Doc Rivers, I'm glad he's not our head coach, but Tyrese Maxey is Tyrese Maxey because he has that opportunity to be Tyrese Maxey. You know, when Ben Simmons was on the team, that took a lot away from Tyrese. So now we have a budding. Some people think Tyrese Maxey's are already a superstar. He's at least a budding superstar. He is a star. You know what I mean? So like that was a blessing in disguise. And like, yeah.
I completely agree, and it happened to him twice.